Hey, what's going on everybody? Bob and B. Arthur here in Bob's Video Vault. A couple weeks ago I did a video showing off some of the pieces in my Blu-ray collection that you can see behind me here, and it was going a little long, so I wanted to split it up. I didn't have a chance to do my DVDs, so I thought in this video I'd show off some of the favorites of my collection on the DVD side of things. So let's go ahead and jump right in and check out what I've got in the Video Vault. So here's my DVD collection, which is nowhere near as organized as my Blu-rays. At this point, I have not alphabetized them all fully. They do start off that way. We got A Mile, and I think we go up through maybe C or D here, and they are alphabetized. But I have not actually had a chance to finish that yet. But what I am going to start with is I just want to show a couple of things on top here that they don't fit on the shelf, that are not necessarily DVDs. But this is my all-time favorite TV series. This is The Shield. Great cop show. It was on FX, ran for 7 seasons, and this set is the original one that was released as the full complete series. It's a real pain in the ass to take out of here and show, because I obviously need one hand for the camera here, otherwise I would, but when you open this up, it's in like a faux kind of leather set, and the discs are actually slot load on individual pages. You turn it just like a book, and they load in through the top. They have re-released this set in just a standard, DVD style set, where it's just the box and the discs are kind of all just stacked in on top of each other. But I really like the way that this one is. This one's really, really nice, and this is my favorite show of all time. The show is absolutely fantastic. I believe that you can watch it online on FX's website. It may be on Hulu as well. If you have that, you should definitely check that out. The show is fantastic. If you're a fan of The Wire, Justified, Oz, those kinds of deep, heavy dramas, I would definitely check out The Shield if you have not. On this side here, I do have a couple of VHS. I have the Vulture Video release of Caller. This is my buddy Ryan Nicholson's movie. I actually got the VHS before I got the DVD. I got the DVD for Christmas in a swap on one of the Facebook horror groups that I'm in from my buddy Thomas Townsend, who actually works for Plot Digger Films. So that was pretty cool of him to get me that. But I got this first because it was actually released before the DVD, and I really needed to see it, so I got the VHS as soon as it came out. And another, this is a copy of the movie Hanger, also known as Wired. This is the King of the Witches release of Hanger, and this is also another Ryan Nicholson film, and this is a great movie too. Also, really, really fucked up horror movie if you're into that kind of thing. Check out Hanger, is what you would find it as most of the time on DVD and Blu-ray. And then the other tape that I have up here, this is actually a Betamax copy of The Willies. If you've never seen this, it's an anthology horror film from, I believe, 1990 it was released. I have a bunch of copies of The Willies. This is one of my favorite movies. It was a big inspiration for our movie, The Carnage Collection, which I showed off in my Blu-ray video from a couple of weeks ago that my brothers and I released on our label Point Shoot Films. This was it, The Carnage Collection. This was our anthology horror film we just released this year, but The Willies was a big kind of inspiration for me personally in my segments. I just think it's a lot of fun. I have a bunch of copies of this. I'll actually show you down here on the bottom. I have a copy. This is the German hardbox edition. This is listed as Campfire Horror Tales, and this was released by X-Rated. They have a ton of hardbox releases that they do. But I have that copy. I also have some of the standard editions. Let me see. As I said, these are not alphabetized yet, so I'm not sure. Here's another copy as well. This one's sealed. This is a UK version of The Willies, and there's not really any differences between them, but I'm just such a huge fan of this movie. I also have two different I have a VHS, and I have two different standard edition DVDs that are also probably mixed in here somewhere, or they may still be in one of the boxes that I have. And then I also have the Laserdisc, so I have, like I said, I'm a big fan of that movie as well. So a lot of the DVDs that I have in here, I mean, there's nothing that's, super, fancy or that amazing. I stopped buying Blu-rays, I stopped buying DVDs in exchange for Blu-rays quite a while ago, so unless a movie is only available on DVD, I don't often buy anything. Here are a handful of movies that are only available on DVD. This is my John Waters collection here. So there's the Hairspray Pecker combo pack. Looks like these are actually backwards here. This one's Volume 2, which is Polyester and Desperate Living, and Volume 3 is Pink Flamingos and Female Trouble. I kind of made my own Volume 4 with Mondo Trasho and Multiple Maniacs, which are two movies that have never been officially released. So I just kind of made my own to match these other sets. But John Waters is my favorite director. He makes, Pink Flamingos is probably one of the biggest cult films of all time, if not the biggest cult film. Probably behind Rocky Horror, I would say Pink Flamingos is one of them. But I absolutely love all the John Waters movies. I think that they're fantastic and they're a lot of fun. And they're, some of the older ones, Pink Flamingos especially, Desperate Living, they're really trashy and they're a lot of fun and they're really dirty. And again, that was the kind of things in my mind when I was making my movie, The Carnage Collection. There were my segments in The Carnage Collection. Doing that was, John Waters was a big, kind of a big influence on me there. Another couple things I should point out here. I do have this is a signed copy of the Chester Novel Turner set from Massacre Video, and this has Black Devil Doll from Hell in it, which is the Black Devil Doll from Hell and Tales from the Quaddead Zone. You can see there. Tales from the Quaddead Zone is, I don't know if it's still true, but for the longest time it was probably the most expensive VHS tape you could buy. The movie is really, like, it's an exploitation film and it's really ridiculous. But the VHS, there were a couple of copies that were floating around, and they're just really rare and so ridiculous. So they were selling for hundreds and hundreds of dollars, these copies of Tales from the Quaddead Zone, which is just, and they still do, as far as I know, which is funny because they're available. This is a readily available set through Massacre, and it's pretty cheap. Pretty cheap as well. So I guess some people just really like to collect the VHS. Like I have a few more that are packed away. I'm not a huge fan of VHS. At one point in time I had a few hundred and I kind of weaned them down in exchange for Blu-rays and stuff. They take up plenty of room when you've got hundreds of Blu-rays here. Some of these are sets of DVDs. Are You Afraid of the Dark? Again, one of my favorite shows growing up. It's kids' horror show. I have most of the seasons. There's actually a season 6 and season 7, but they're not available. These are Amazon On Demand discs, which if you have never seen, I'll try and open up here. I mean, there's nothing extra fancy about them or anything, but these are Burn on Demand through Amazon, which is fantastic, by the way, because if you are a fan of Are You Afraid of the Dark, the original releases, they were released in Canada because the show's Canadian, so they're out of print and they're extra expensive. The original seasons, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I think the first 3 at least sell for a couple $100s a piece. So the fact that Amazon was able to, they worked a deal out with Nickelodeon. They have a bunch of old Nickelodeon shows and they released them and they do these Burn on Demand is awesome, because I believe that these were like $20 a piece. I got a few of them for Christmas for my brother, and then I bought the other ones. So, for $100 you can buy the whole series, or $200 you can buy individual ones if you care that much. Nothing extra on these, but there's nothing extra on the original release either. So. And I'm just kind of going through here, too, and seeing if there's anything else. This is not a movie, but I do want to point this out for one reason. This is my favorite band. This is Cancer Slug. They're a punk rock band from Alabama. They've been making music for like over 15 years already. They've got a couple of DVDs. The reason I want to point these out is if you are an independent filmmaker, they used a website called Kunaki, Kunaki, to produce these discs. And as they sit, you get a full color wrap, a UPC. They're also wrapped in plastic when you get them. And then on the inside, full color disc art, and you can see under there's a slip image as well. The reason I want to point that out is because they're cheap. Because Cancer Slug used them, and I ordered through Kunaki when I bought those, it really led me to, when we did the Carnage Collection, the DVDs of those, the same thing here. Here's a copy of the Carnage Collection on DVD. You can see the UPC full, these are fully shrink wrapped and everything. They end up being about $1.50 a piece with everything. So if you're an independent filmmaker and you need a bunch of copies of movies or even a limited supply, you can order one at a time. We've been ordering 40 or 50 at a time, and it's $100 for 50 copies shipped to you. Or you can use them actually and have Kunaki drop ship directly to your customers, which saves you a little bit on shipping. And then they just pay you out, once you sell copies. But I prefer to have them all on hand and ship them up myself. But it's really awesome. If you, like I said, if you are an independent filmmaker, or if you have, even if you want to put some of your old home movies onto DVD, all you have to do is upload it to their system, and then once it's uploaded, you can design the art and everything. It's really, really super easy. It's all done through an online, an online operation. Basically, there's no program or anything to download. There used to be, but now you can just do it right through their website, and it's awesome. So I would definitely check that out if you need DVDs made. Let me see if there's anything else in here jumping out at me. So there's a couple of movies that I grew up on. Howard the Duck, which is now on Blu-ray, which I really need to upgrade. Everyone universally hates this movie, but I think it's hilarious. I'm trying to see one of my favorite documentaries right here, Jesus Camp. It's about evangelical Christians who go, they send their kids to like a summer camp or a couple-week camp and stuff, and it's I don't want to get into a religious discussion, but if you want a movie that's really going to move you one way or the other, depending on how you feel about this, Jesus Camp is the way to go, because that movie is it's definitely a conversation starter. Watch it with people. I've watched it with people who are very anti-religion, and I've watched it with people who are very religious, and it really sparks good conversation either way. So it's a few years old now. I want to say this movie's probably 10 years old at least. But definitely check it out if you're into documentaries, especially kind of like some hard-hitting documentary. That one's really good. Here's another movie that I need to upgrade. I do have this is the Grindhouse release of Pieces, which is now available on Blu-ray. So again, I have to update that one. But this is a really good set too. Good horror movie. If you have never seen Pieces, you should. This is one of the movies that when I worked in a video store, this movie really kind of got me into some of the sleazier horror films. I don't want to say that this movie was less known by any stretch of the imagination, but it certainly doesn't have the clout, so to speak, of like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre or one of those movies. But it definitely has the grindy kind of feel. And it's way more violent than Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So if you're in that, then you have never seen Pieces, I would absolutely check that out. I do have some, like I said, I have a lot of generic stuff too. I really like so many different kinds of movies. I've got, Never Back Down and, Never Back Down 2. Just generic, action movies. I did pick up this porno at a closing video store called Nightmare on Dyke Street. Specifically just because it has like a Freddy Krueger with dildo fingers, which I thought was hilarious. I've never watched this, but I thought it was just hilarious to have. Another one of my favorite movies, and this is in here because we just watched this, Midnight Madness. Grew up on this movie, didn't know that anybody else had ever even seen this movie outside of my family. It's Michael J. Fox's first movie, maybe second movie. They really put him on the cover, but he's in it. He needs a crucial role, but it's one of those, releases where, we're going to capitalize on Michael J. Fox, even though his name is not on the front. His picture is right there on the cover. But this is a really fun, this is a Buena Vista movie, so it's been released by Disney, so there's a million different copies of this, and it's a good, fun, kind of like it's a Mad World kind of caper movie, but, a little more tame now, more for kids and stuff, but it's a lot of fun. So that's another one I would check out if you like that kind of movie here. Let's see what else I've got in here. I do own Let the Right One In, which is probably the greatest vampire movie ever, which it actually says, right on the front, best vampire movie ever. Absolutely love this movie. I also have Let Me In, which is the American remake that they're so keen on doing. Not as bad as I anticipated, but nothing to write home about, to be honest. Those are both good movies, but Let the Right One In is an amazing, fantastic movie that you should definitely check out. Here's another great documentary, Rewind This, which is about the collect VHS and VCR, basically the whole history of the VCR leading up to, and then VHS collectors and stuff. A lot of cool info in here. Again, if you like documentaries, this is obviously a lot more fun style. If you are a fan of movies, I definitely recommend seeing Rewind this, especially if you grew up in the video store era or you collected VHS tapes. That's definitely something you should see. I have a handful of DVDs of movies that I've never seen. I have not yet watched this film, Starry Eyes, but I've heard nothing but good things about it, and I just have yet to check it out. I got this from a closing video store a handful of months back, right along with this movie right here, Spring Breakers, which is another one that I have never seen. Did not actually even think it'd be something up my alley, but it was recommended to me, based on who made the film. So they said, you should check that out, but I haven't. I bought it, and I've been meaning to, and I just have not had the chance to see it yet, so. Here's another copy of the Willies. This is the standard American version, so if you ever in like a Kmart, this is pretty much the version you'll find of the Willies. I knew I had another one around there somewhere. And this movie right here. This was filmed in my hometown of Conway, New Hampshire. It's a movie called Skeletons in the Closet, and it has Treat Williams, Linda Hamilton, from Terminator, and Jonathan Jackson. And it's a pretty generic feeling thriller. It's nothing amazing. The reason I have it is because it was filmed in my hometown. But the funny thing is, and I'm sure that this happens anytime somebody watches a movie that was filmed locally to them, or that they're really familiar with the area, the continuity is just horribly off, but nobody would know that watching the movie if they didn't live in the area. So it's just really funny for me. Occasionally we'll put it in, or, I show it to people if they've never seen it and they're from my town, but, made me feel like when I visited Los Angeles, and I'm sure every movie that's filmed in Los Angeles is exactly the same thing, people who are like watching these movies going, well, you can't get from there to there like that quickly. That's like a 20-minute drive, sure that was the same idea. Let me see what else. I'm going to try and wrap this up here. I do have several copies of Terminator 2. I own 17 copies of Terminator 2 altogether. There's a collector's set. This one has the aluminum cover here. I own 17 copies between DVD, Blu-ray, VHS, Betamax, everything. I own it. I own them all. It's my all-time favorite film, and my goal is to collect one of every version that was released. At least the US versions, not necessarily the foreign versions, because I know that there's about 300 Japanese versions out there and stuff. But I guess the last thing I just want to show off real quick is some of my... This is my independent, down on the bottom I have all the indie films and everything. You can see I have a huge, Ryan Nicholson, we're, good friends. He's an independent horror filmmaker, and my favorite movie of his is Gutterballs. It's one of my favorite horror films anyway. I have multiple versions of Gutterballs. I absolutely love the movie. I think it's tons of fun. I showed off Collar. Here's the Collar DVD of the VHS that I had up there. And here's Hanger, which is the... and I've never even opened this, although I've seen it a bunch of times. That's the movie that I showed you at the beginning of the video called Wired. It's the same setup. This set right here has several movies of his: Live Feed, Gutterballs, Star Vehicle, which is also called Bleeding Lady, and Hanger. But I'm still most proud of all these Gutterballs. I've got the standard. There's a standard. They call it the Balls Out Uncut version, but that's pretty much the standard version of the movie. There's another variant of the cover here, the Balls Out Uncut edition. This is the German version with this awesome Maniac homage cover here. And another German version here. Oh, there we go. I'm going to show you off that one there. The Penetration edition, which has added in porno splicing into some of the scenes. And this has the awesome I Spit on Your Grave homage cover there. And then another alternate version. I believe that this one's a German one also. So I've got a ton of different versions. The Penetration is the hardest one to come by. There's several different versions that sell for a couple $100. This one was not quite as much, but still a hard one to come by. I have a couple of bootleg versions of movies that were released by Plot Digger Films here, not Point and Shoot. I almost said Point and Shoot. So there's a couple different movies there. This one has a snake on it. and some, just I got 000 out of 100. Pretty cool. But yeah, most of these are really, independent movies. My buddy Luke Reamer, I've got a couple of his movies. Under the Rainbow, which is not really strictly a horror movie, but kind of a fantasy drug movie. I do collect 83 when I can. There wasn't 83 copies, but Luke was kind enough to make this number 83 for me. And also a copy of his movie Deadbeat, which I'm kind of embarrassed to say I have not watched this one yet. But I've had it since last summer, and I just never watched it, and I'm sure Luke would not like to know that. But I've only ever heard good things about this. Everyone loves his movies, and he's great guy, good fun. If you're into indie stuff, definitely check out Luke's work. I do have all of the James Bell films, Dog Dick, Newer, Tantrum, and I also have his latest film, but I just haven't had it on the shelf because there's no room, and I have to rearrange. And then several different copies of Pain Shack, which was made by Ricky Shore Sings the Blues. They have a channel on YouTube. It's Alex and Marissa Murphy made these movies, and this is also their YouTube TV series that they did here. I have all of the copies of that. And I designed their cover, so they gave me those copies in these thin cases, which is pretty cool. And I've got a handful of movies down here. I mean, most of these are these are all mostly super independent movies, with the exception of, I guess the guinea pig films and stuff. Actually, the copy of The Devil's Experiment I have here, and a couple of these other movies, including, this is part of the Vomit Gore trilogy. I saw this movie at Slaughter in Syracuse last summer, and I picked this up, this hard box, which is number 62 of I'm not even sure how many, sold out in less than 2 minutes. And but I'm actually I'm sending this off to my buddy Brian at Fits of Horror, who bid on an auction that I was doing, and I sold him that and a handful of other movies basically for money to go towards my next film. So yeah, helped out with that there. The last thing I really want to show real quick, I know this video is getting long here. I did pick up these quite a while ago. Picked up these Chinese bootlegs, and these are hilarious. This one specifically, this is The Day After Tomorrow, and from the director of Independence Day, that is correct. But on the back here, we actually have a description. Let's see, who is it here? Directed by Rennie Harlan. It's actually the description down here is for Die Hard 2 for some reason. The URL is for Die Hard 3. You can see that there. This movie is just, everything about this case is just all wrong, and it's hilarious. For some reason, the UPC is for The Siege, of all movies, and the description, I believe, is also for one of the Die Hard films. So everything about this is just completely messed up. That's why I bought these. The same with the Skeleton Key. I believe the description was for something completely different, and it talked about a bunch of DVD features that the DVDs don't have at all, and that it's, R-rated, which this was not. But same with and the last one's The Passion of the Christ. Same idea. I thought it was so hilarious that these were so wrong. Almost like the English, when you get the translations and stuff, except these were just even worse, because it's just the wrong movies altogether. So it was so ridiculous to me. I had to buy them. They were cheap. But anyway, you guys, so I know this video went a little longer than I probably anticipated, and I really appreciate you checking it out and checking out my collection with me here. So again, this is Bob here in the video vault, towering down here above me, and I just want to thank you for watching, and subscribe. Thanks a lot.